Okay. So welcome to our webinar on cutting out our silhouette wall hanging. So what we have done is we've gone and we've opened our Creative Drawing Simple Cut software. And today we are working with SVG files. So we're going to start by going Create New. And because we are creating a applique piece that we're going to stitch out with our sewing machine, we are just wanting to cut our files today. So we've got our cut technique selected and we're not worrying about any of our other techniques. So we're going to go next. Our next step is we need to locate our artwork. So these are the SVG files that I emailed out to you. So it will depend on where you have saved these onto your computer. So we're going to open up our little location box. And as you can see here, I created a folder that says SVG, and I've put all the 3 SVG files that we're going to use today in that folder. We're going to start off by cutting out our koala. So when you click on or highlight the file that you would like, you can see it has come up in our little preview box down the bottom. It also gives us our width and our heights of our project. So we're going to open. So now it comes back into this, and we're going to select our mat for our project. Today I'm using my 12 by 12 inch cutter, so I have my 12 by 12 mat selected. And finish. Okay, so it's brought it in and you can now see it sitting on our mat. In our sequence trays, you can see that there's 2 cut files. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up and we're going to go Edit and Select All. So that means now that any changes that we make, we will make to all the components of this SVG file that we're going to cut out. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to tell our cutter what we want to cut it out on. So I've got homespun fabric and I have backed it with our Tilda Fix Light applique paper. So if we come over here to Cutter Presets, we select Fabric Back with Fusible Webbing. And the other thing is I'm going to change my speed down to 35. So by doing that, it is going to slow the cutter blade down, which means it's going to give me a better reaction time. So if I have any issues, whether I have an older mat and it may peel up in places, or if I'm using an older blade and I find that it tears a little, I actually have a better reflex time to actually pause the cutter and fix any of those little hiccups up. Okay, so the next thing is now we need to send it to our cutter. So we go File, Export, Export to Cutters. Check that you've got yours plugged in and go Connect. So mine's not plugged in at the moment, so it's going to just pop up with an error. And okay. Okay, so when we send it across, we need to take note where our little laser point is. We want to make sure it's in our bottom left-hand corner. And now we need to go over to our cutter. So we've prepped our mat. I've used Best Press on top, our Tilda Fit Light on the bottom, and our washi tape. Because I've been using the Tilda Fix Light and it's got a paper background, I'm using my green mat. If I was using something like Heat and Bond, which has like a waxy back, I'd use my purple mat. So we've gone ahead and we've lined up our laser points and we're tracing out our pattern. Once we're happy with our trace, we can then go ahead and press cut on our computer. So as you can see, you can slightly see the lines coming out. That's a good indication for me that I need to buy new blades. So if you have nice sharp blades in your cutter, more than likely 9 times out of 10 you can't actually see your cuts. Okay, so I've just paused it there because a little bit was coming up from my mat. So that's a good indication that on my next shopping trip I will be replacing my green mats. Okay, once we've finished, we can remove our mat from our cutter. And I like to use the artistic hook, which is an accessory that you can get for the cutter to help lift my applique pieces off my mats. And what I do is I lightly run it around the edge where the cuts are. Like so. On down, we come up to new, and it brings us into here. We've got our cut selected, so we go next. And the next thing is we're going to locate our artwork for our kangaroo. And open. We finish. Once again, we come up and we go select all. Select our fabric. Change our speed. Send through to our cutter. Yes, I know. Check that our laser points lined up. Okay, so we now load our mat into our cutter. Line it up with the edge at the front. I find if I line it up with the edge of the front, I get a better result of my mat going in straight. We've prepped this mat and fabric just like we did before. And we line up our lasers and we press trace. Once we're happy with trace, we can then go ahead and press cut on our computer. Once we have finished cutting, we can release our mat and we can remove our applique pieces from our mat. So once again, I'm using the hook to run around the edge and make sure that I've got all the little delicate pieces move away. We've got our cut technique selected. We go next. We're going to locate our final artwork, our SVG file, which is our dingo, and open. We've got our mat and finish. Once again, we're going to come up and we're going to go select all. So we have all our sequence trays selected. We're going to go over and select fabric backless fusible webbing and change our speed. We can now send it through to our cutter. Connect. We're going to line up our points and head over to our cutter. Okay, so we load our mat. As you can see there, this is a different mat. So when we were cutting out the koala, you could see it was lifting a little bit. So I've changed my mat. We're lining up our laser point and we are selecting trace. Once we are happy with our trace, we can go ahead and press cut on our computer. Once we have finished cutting, we can remove our mat. And we can remove our applique piece from our mat.